You know, I always forget to bring you guys along when I do certain projects like this. Today I thought I'd bring you along and show you what I'm doing on top here. This is really the first quote-unquote major thing that we've had go wrong with the coach, and that is we had one of the AC motors go out. Before we get too far into this video, I want to address something quickly because I know it's coming in the comments, but this is not a step-by-step instruction on how to replace your AC motor. It's more of a, this guy can do it, so I can do it. I realize it's vague. I realize it's not well videoed. I've already seen it. I already edited it. I know already, so I don't need to hear the comments about that. The purpose of this is just so that you know that it can be done in a park without having to take it to the dealer and taking 2 to 3 weeks with your coach or however long they're going to take. Sometimes it could be more than that for a $95 AC motor. If you do have any questions at all, feel free to leave those in the comments below the video and I'll do my best to help you out. If you can't handle figuring out and taking off the top of the AC cover, then you probably shouldn't do this, but it's really not that hard. I think you can handle it with some basic tools. Replace the motor on your own and save yourself a few bucks. You may now continue with the video. This is what your AC looks like without the pretty covers on, and yes, it's been raining here, so you'll have to excuse the mess on the roof on this old girl. I don't know how this works, don't care, doesn't matter. This has got coolant in here. This is what helps produce the coolant. Coolant's in here. Sucks air through, fresh air, coming through here and blows the air down through there into your coach. And that is the top of your little filters there that you see on the inside. Yeah, really a lot of technical terms anyways. This stuff is a lot easier than people make it out to be. Your RV dealer is going to tell you that it's major service and that you have to bring it in. It's a load of crap. The motor itself was, I think, around 90 or 95 bucks. I'll put that in the video when I get this up. And it's really a fairly simple procedure. As you can see, the motor gets bolted on to this plate here. And I didn't have a new sound deadening material. There's little nuts that go through here and come out here. I just covered them back over with some more sound deadening material that I got at Home Depot. So you just bolt this back up. There's 4 bolts to bolt onto this plate. These things here just go on, the squirrel cages, they just go on to this shaft. There's a flat spot on the shaft, and that's what keeps that from spinning. And what I did is I did put this on temporarily because I want to see the spacing that I need for this into here. You don't want this to be rubbing on the styrofoam inside of here. You want to have a little bit of a gap in there between that squirrel cage and this foam. So that's what I'm going to do now is set that gap. I'm just going to push it in here until it touches this, squeeze everything nice and tight, and then give it about another 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch of play on the end of the shaft here. Okay, so the motor, you just put the long shaft down in first, and then this over here, and all you're going to do is, actually what I might do is put that top screw in just to make sure that's tight. This would be much easier if you had 2 people. And what we'll do is we'll put top 2 screws in just to hold that. If you don't have one of these angled things from DeWalt, I highly suggest you get one. They are amazing. I'll maybe put a link to one of those in the description as well. So this is tight in here. Now I can squeeze this in and I can feel on the other side that the squirrel cage is touching. Or even if you just turn the shaft won't turn really easily, and I can hear it. I don't know if you guys can hear that in the video. You can hear it actually touching on the other side. I don't think I can get my hand in there enough to, without cutting the heck out of it, to slide that back in. So I know that I got to come back about a 1/4 of an inch or so, maybe even a half. Let's loosen these up again and we'll take another run at it. bring this back. We'll just slide the squirrel cage back a little bit, and then we'll put this back up. Let's give it a squeeze there, and yeah, that looks like that's going to turn pretty easily. And it looks like if I'm looking down in here, I'll show you guys a look at that here in a second. Once I put it back up, we'll put it up in there and show you guys the gap that's created in there. Sorry if this how-to video is boring, but how-to videos are boring, and that's why I don't like to do them, because they're not any fun. Put that back up in there, and then let's take a look at it. It's going to be really hard for you guys to see. Down in there, you can see that there's a little gap now in between the squirrel cage and the foam. Not too much, but just enough so that it doesn't rub. That's good to go. So I'll tighten all of these in, and then we'll test it again one more time just to make sure. Okay, that's on there solid. And we just turn it. No noise, no scrinkling, no crunching. So with no crunching noises, then we're good to go. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to move this fan over, and you just got to find the flat spot, and that'll go on there. Now before you do that, make sure that you put this on. There's a little, you'll see a little pin. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that. There's a little pin there that just goes into one of the slots. You've got the flat piece of the shaft, and bring that back in here. I don't remember what it was like, but I'm assuming that as long as that shaft isn't sticking too far out the back, and that fan is about, I'd say, halfway on this shroud here, should be good. I don't think that's going to be, I don't think it's a huge deal. I don't know, of course, because I don't know anything about these things. Again, whenever you're watching one of my how not to videos, make sure that you're consulting professionals, because I am not. And we're just going to tighten this onto the shaft so that this doesn't slide. Okay, good to go. Now the next thing we're going to do is the wiring. And what you want to do, as long as you've got this unplugged here, there's no power going out to the motors. So you don't have to go down and turn off breakers or anything like that. Just unplug this, and then you can see that it's the only power going over to the motors and coming up into this section here. And if that's unplugged, you're not going to have any power at all, and not going to electrocute yourself and fall off the top of the RV. That's never a good thing. The wiring here, you can just put all back through this hole. Nothing difficult there. I'll get some putty and reseal that at a later date. Don't have any with me, so we'll do that later. But for now, we can just kind of use the old stuff to somewhat seal it. But there's a cover that goes on top, so it shouldn't be too bad. I took pictures of this before, just to make sure that I got this in the right spot. Brown with a white stripe going on this side, brown, regular brown going on the other side, and that's all I got to worry about with those. Now this is where the real difficult part is, so you want to pay attention here. You see you've got a red, white, and black. You're going to take and you're going to attach the new red, white, and black to them. Are you following me here? It's that simple, folks. You don't have to be an electrician to know how that works. Get one of these little tools. Everyone should be carrying one of these in the RV. Just strip off the wires. You just drop them through where it says wire stripper. Find the one that fits yours. If you go here, like look, 12 gauge, right? 12 gauge should probably work on there. Nope, it's not going to work. So you know that that's not the right one, right? So you go down here to 14 gauge, just close it, and then pull it. But because I already did it, I got to go a little further up. Now it's not going to work on me at all. Go a little further up still. and off it comes. You just give it a little pull, give these a twist. That's actually a little bit long, and that one's not too bad, but I'm gonna take and just cut this one a little bit. You want, I don't know, ½ inch, maybe not quite that much. I should be using these blue connectors, but I don't have enough, so I'm actually going to use one of the bigger yellow connectors. And what I'm going to do there, I'm going to use those on the black, so we're going to actually extend this a little bit. We're going to double it over to increase the gauge on the wire there. We're going to do that on this other black one as well. We're just going to lengthen it. We're going to double it over. This is not ideal. If you can get away with not doing that, don't do it. But I've got to get out of town, and I need Lori to make sure that I need to make sure Lori's got AC. So you come up here and you can see yellow, blue, red. So you just take your yellow and you're just going to grab just the end of it, and you're going to give it a squeeze and squeeze it on there. And you're going to go black. Get all these other wires out of the way. And we're going to go black to black. I will wind up putting a little electrical tape around there as well, just to make sure it holds. Now here on the blue, you can actually put that in there first, put it in the crimping tool. Let's go with red. Put the wire in the end, crimp it. Same thing with this red. Find out which one it is. That needs to be tightened up a little bit, cleaned up a little bit, into there. Crimp that one. And last but not least, you should have a good set of wire strippers in your RV at all times. These ones suck. They were $8 at Walmart. Buy a $20 set, but I've got so many of them at home, I didn't want to buy another expensive one. I might have to pick one up when I'm back in Vegas next time out of my toolbox, but don't cheap out on these because they kind of suck if they're cheap ones. Drop the wire in there. That's it. And that's it for electrical, gang. So don't think that you can't do the electrical in these. For the most part, either the wires are going to match up exactly, or you're going to take a picture, write the stuff down, whatever you need to do to get it back together. Now all I'm going to do is button all this stuff up, and it should be good to go. Now what I'm going to do first is I'm going to plug it in, and then I'm going to have Lori give it a quick test. And if there's no smoke and flames, that means we're good to go. Fire it up. And there we go. A running AC unit. So it's really kind of easy to change out the motor. That probably took me maybe a ½ hour to pull the motor, and then maybe about a ½ hour to an hour to put it in. Probably not that long. It's literally probably an hour, hour and a half repair total if you have the motor. I'll give you the number of the motor that we use for our coach. It doesn't mean it's going to be the same for everybody's, but that's how you replace your AC motor. I could have had this repaired under warranty, but our warranty is $100 deductible. The motor itself was, like I said, around $95 to $100, and by the time you take it in, get stuff set up, go through all of the waiting and all that kind of stuff, 2-3 weeks, it kind of sucks, and I wasn't about to do that, so that's how we did it. I doubt anybody doesn't know how to use electrical tape, but if you don't, easy, just kind of drop it on and then just start wrapping it around. And what you can do is tighten it up a little bit by just not having too much of it off. You don't need a bunch. I just want to kind of double up on this to make sure that it doesn't pull apart. It shouldn't, because there's nothing pulling on this down here. So the other ones, the blue ones, should be fine, so we're not gonna do anything there. But you just kind of tighten it up like you would, almost like a heat shrink. It's not a heat shrink, so that's it. Just put these back in here just in case you needed the diagram. It's here. Nobody knows what that means except for electricians. That's not true. I know what that means. I just don't need it because you're like I said, just matching the wires up, slide that underneath there. I could have undone that. and this is just the cover for the electrical. So pull it up until you've got the screws. You really don't need this angle piece for this. You could just use it straight in, but this is the electrical cover. Just drop the electrical cover on there. And then now it's just a matter of putting the other cover, this cover, back up. And it's really easy, gang. Just pull this up and then just make sure that it kind of goes over the top of it. Watch your fingers, because this stuff is all very, very sharp. You're best off to use gloves putting this back on. But then you just line up all the holes, start tightening this cover back up, and that's it. One pretty important piece is this stabilizing bracket. So when you put this motor on, you want to make sure that you put this bolt down at the bottom so that you can put this on here and bolt this down. We'll tighten that up, which hopefully that's that size. Perfect. There it is, all buttoned up. Now let's get off this roof before I hurt myself. Well, that's all I've got on AC motor replacement. So hopefully somebody got something out of that video. If it's your first time here, it'd be awesome if you subscribe to the channel. Stay up to date on everything we're doing, including our awful how-to videos. It'd be equally as cool if you throw that like button a little love. And we'll see you again soon in another one. Take care, folks. Bye now.